Hey, welcome back. Let's jump in. Welcome to the 2026 season preview for Zip It Up Pod. I'm your host, Daniel Kozy, and I am ready to get going. Happy Super Bowl week, first of all. We are doing our season preview well before our Super Bowl happens. We actually have the NFL's Super Bowl coming up this weekend, so a little bit of a break from racing. And once that passes, we're going to be full force NASCAR season all the way through. We'll have again, tonight is the season preview. So we're going to talk about expectations and predictions for the upcoming entire 2026 season. Next week, we will get into our Daytona 500 specific preview for that one race. All right, so stick around with me. But let's go ahead and jump into our drink of the night. I do have a can that is blue. The mountains are blue. I got the silver bullet tonight. It's Coors Light all the way. So let's raise our drinks to, I'm going to go Brotherhood tonight. This is an easy topic for me to cheers to. I think I'd probably raised a toast to the boys last year several times. And already our season preview, we're getting right into toasting the boys again. But this past weekend, I went on a boys cruise and had a little brocation and got down with the homies. And I'm just a dude's dude. I'm a guy's guy. I love the bros. So this one goes out to the boys tonight. Ladies, if you're tuning in, thank you for tuning in. We will raise one to you very soon as well. You might have to wait till Mother's Day, but I'm just kidding. This goes out to all of you. First of all, the listeners get the cheers every week. But this week, to the bros. All right. It's a good way to start off. Good way to start off the season. That beer is not as cold as I thought it was going to be. So, warm beer. Here we go. This is going to be a fun one. Well, before we get into much of a preview for the upcoming season, let's take a look at how last year ended for all of our guys. So, a quick, brief 2025 season recap. And we'll start with Kyle Larson because he won the championship. This was his second career championship. And he only had 3 wins on the year, but still ended up being called champion at the end of the day. So very good season. He led over 1,100 laps on the season. And he did attempt the double with the Indy 500. This one, I think he had a little bit more success in because he was able to get back to Charlotte and race. But I would not expect him to attempt that double again this upcoming season. So it looks like that is probably dead in the dirt right now. But Larson, your 2025 Cup Series champion, and he's coming back to try to win his third of his career. Next up, we got William Byron, who was in the Final Four, racing for a championship in Phoenix, but came up short. He ended up finishing 4th in the points. He also had a 3-win season, but he was the regular season champion. So he pretty much won the first 26 races of the season and just fell short at the end when it came to the playoffs. But really good year for Willie B. He ended up leading over 1,300 laps for the entire season, and he did win back-to-back Daytona 500s. So now, here in a couple weeks, he will be looking for a third in a row. He's going for the three-peat, and that's William Byron in the 24 car. Very good season for him. Next up, we got Chase Elliott. This is where the fall off happens a little bit more. Chase finished 8th in the points last year, and he did have 2 wins. So the season before that, he only had the 1 win. This year, he had 2 wins. Sorry, last year. This year, we're hoping for 3 or more wins. Hopefully, we are trending in the right direction. He began the season last year with 23 straight top 20 finishes, and he ended up finishing the season out with just 3 DNFs all season long. And of course, he was voted most popular driver for the 8th time in a row. 8 consecutive years. No one's been able to top him pretty much since Dale Earnhardt Jr. left the sport. Then Alex Bowman, he had a down year, very down year. Alex Bowman finished 13th in the points. He did not have a single win last year. He did make the playoffs because Ryan Blaney won in Daytona. So huge shout out to Blaney. That's our guy, honorary Hendrick Motorsports driver for now. That'd be amazing if one day he was on our team. But anywho, A big note, though, a big takeaway because of the bad season for Bowman. This whole crew, the whole team, got a big makeover in the offseason. I am not quite sure the new personnel that is in there. I believe he did keep his crew chief, so that stayed intact, but almost the rest of the team has been adjusted. And so there will be some new faces helping out that 48 car on Sundays. And um, that's the big takeaway, though, is changes were needed to be made. And if there are not results this year, could be a tough spot for Bowman to be sitting in next offseason. But last, we haven't gotten through every Hendrick driver. I did want to touch on Corey Day, who came in and drove a part-time schedule in the Xfinity Series, now O'Reilly Series. So Corey Day drove in 11 races last year in Xfinity. And in those 11 races, he had 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. And his average finish was 15.9. So not a whole lot to take away there, just kind of getting his feet wet. He did earn himself a full-time ride with Hendrick Motorsports. And will be interesting to see what he can do this season. All right. As you can see, we're kind of working chronologically. We went back and we did a quick recap from last season. Now, we've had an entire off season. This past week, actually yesterday, was the Clash. They finally got around to running the Clash. And so I just wanted to give a quick Clash recap as well. Again, not much to take away here because it is the Clash. It's an exhibition race, but Kyle Larson did win the pole. So 2 years in a row, it's been at Bowman Gray. Both years we've had a Hendrick driver on the pole. Larson wins this season's pole. William Byron started second. Bowman didn't qualify into the main, but his points provisional did lock him in. So he was able to just coast around in the LCQ, and he ended up racing in the main. And then Ryan Preece ended up winning the Clash this year. So that is his first Cup win of his career before he wins a points race. So I think he joins Jeff Gordon and Denny Hamlin as first-time Clash winners before they ever win a points race. We'll see if Preece can drive it to victory lane when we start counting the races and they start meaning a little bit more. But good for him. It was pretty cool to watch his emotions in their little victory lane that they had at Bowman Gray. Look, my takeaways from the Clash, I don't have a lot to take away. Not much, because it's an exhibition race, okay? There's no points involved. It's not really indicative of how the season's going to go. You know, last year, Chase went out and dominated the Clash, and he fell flat during the season, if we're going to be honest. So I don't think we expect Ryan Preece to go out and win several races this year. You just can't take a whole lot from the Clash and say, hey, this is probably what this season is going to look like. Yeah, I'm not going there, okay? Here is my hot take, though. My hot take from the Clash is that the racing was pretty good, even with the bad weather conditions. In fact, I think the weather conditions made the racing better than it was going to be. For a while, I mean, the first half of the race, it looked like they were just going to run around single file and not really be able to challenge each other unless you can get under the guy in front of you. But those weather conditions came in, changed the track up. Guys had to put different tires on, and ended up being able to ride along the high line of the track near the wall and make up some great time there. And I just thought it was pretty interesting. Maybe next year, if they do it at Bowman Gray again and it ends up being a sunny and 75 day, maybe we bring out the sprinklers, maybe slick it up, because I think it helped the racing. It was actually fun to watch. I know that the cautions got to be a bit much. The laps were not counted during the cautions, so it took a lot longer than it probably should have. But hey, we had gone almost, 2.5 months without any racing. We kind of missed it. We had to wait even longer to get to midweek before they actually were able to hit the track. So I'm pretty sure the diehard race fans didn't have a problem with seeing all the racing that happened last night. But yeah, I really enjoyed what happened to that track once it started raining, snowing, and sleeting, and kind of made it interesting for sure. And the fact that Ryan Preece wins, very interesting result. So I'm glad it turned out the way that it did. I'm glad that they got it in when they did, because I don't think they would have waited another day. These drivers and these teams and these families are ready to get south out of the harsh cold that that region has endured for the last couple weeks. North Carolina has been hit with historic cold, so they are ready to get on the road and get to Daytona Beach, and I don't blame them. So, yeah, I think one more day, they probably wouldn't have run that race. So, good to see them get it in, and glad we were able to have an enjoyable, interesting race on TV for the first time in a while. So, with that being said, let's get into our season preview for 2026. Hendrick Motorsports is pretty much going to be the focus of this entire preview. I will have some other things mixed in towards the end, but I'm going to jump right into our strengths and our weaknesses. Look, there are 4 different types of tracks in the Cup Series. You got the super speedways, you got the short tracks, you got the mile and a halves, and then you got the road courses. I'm going to go through each of those styles of tracks, and I'm going to rank our 4 Cup drivers in the order that I think show our best driver and our worst driver at each of those tracks. And for reference, I'll give you last year's rankings. I did this in last season preview. Ooh, that was a lot of season in like 2 words, a lot of S's in just 2 words. But some of these did change, some of these have not changed. However, let's jump into the super speedway category since that's the first race we're going to, the Daytona 500. Super speedways, big tracks, a lot of drafting, usually over 2 miles. Daytona, Talladega fall in the 2.5 mile category. Atlanta's 1.5 miles, and it still races like a super speedway. So we'll throw it in there. But look, I think our best driver on the super speedways has got to be William Byron. I said him last year because he won the Daytona 500. Well, he won the Daytona 500 again. So I got to keep him in the number 1 spot. And look, he didn't go out there and earn the Daytona 500. He was running 9th at the white flag, but he still won. He was still there. He still survived. And so, yes, we cannot put anyone above William Byron right now when it comes to super speedways. Again, these rankings are just Hendrick Motorsports drivers, okay? Because I'd probably have Blaney and Cindric up there with Byron if we're talking about the entire series. But anyway, I believe that Chase Elliott is probably our second best driver on the super speedways. I had him ranked there last year. I got him there again. We saw him win the Atlanta night race in July last summer. So he still belongs ranked up there when it comes to our drivers at super speedways. Next, I'm going to go with Alex Bowman. And this was tough. Okay, I had Bowman ranked 3rd last year and Larson 4th. Everyone would have understood that last year, but we did see Larson have a better season at the super speedways, probably his best season he's ever had. I think he just said he had the best average finish in the whole series on the super speedways. So you're probably wondering why I didn't bump him up yet over Bowman. And honestly, I might be questioning that too. They really are 3A and 3B. I don't know which one we should have ranked above the other. I have not seen the win yet on a super speedway for Larson. I think that's all it's going to take to bump him over Bowman. But right now, I'm just going to keep them placed where they're at, 3rd and 4th, Bowman and Larson. All right. Next up, we got short tracks. Look, this is where Larson starts to take over. I think he is our best short track racer, and I had him ranked there last year. So still has not changed. My opinion has not changed. Larson is one of the best drivers in the world, and he grew up in the dirt scene, a lot of short tracks. So that discipline translates pretty well to the Cup Series short tracks. And yeah, he's a good wheelman. I think he led over 400 laps last year between the 2 Bristol races. So he ain't losing that top spot. Next was tough because I want to put William Byron, but I just can't. I really think Chase Elliott is still our second best short track driver. You know, Martinsville might be the only one you can make a case for Byron being a little bit better than Chase, but the rest of them, I really think Chase can outdrive Byron on a short track. So I'm going to keep them where they were ranked last year. And of course, Bowman, I had ranked 4th last year. He's still going to bring up the rear in the short track category. We've seen him get a win on a short track in his career, but still pales in comparison to the other 3. So he is staying right there, putting 4th. Our next category of track, or style of track, if you will, we got the 1.5 miles. So I'll call these the speedways. And this is another one. Kyle Larson has got to keep that first place ranking from last year. He has not done anything to lose that. Every mile-and-a-half track we go to, he's going to be in contention. He will be the guy in the garage that all the other drivers are going out there to beat. Okay. There's a couple of them. When you show up to a speedway, you know you're going to be needing to beat Larson. You'll probably need to beat the 11. You might have to beat the 12, maybe the 20. Larson every week is mentioned in that's a guy that we got to beat this week if we're going to win the race. So he holds on to that number one spot. Now, this is where we have a big change. Last year I had Chase ranked second on the mile and a half, but that ain't the case no more. I got William Byron up there now. William Byron second. Last year I had William in fourth, which is kind of crazy. I can't believe I did that. I guess I had to put Bowman above someone last year. But anyway, William has also become a guy on the mile and a half tracks that can go get it done any week, anywhere. And it's not going to surprise you if he has a bad race and he slumps a little bit. All drivers do that pretty much. But William, gosh, I keep messing up his name. I got to fix that. William did improve a lot and showed a lot of consistency of not only leading laps, but contending for wins, was constantly up there, ran good in all the crown jewels last year. And so that includes Charlotte, that includes Darlington. But yeah, he's Las Vegas. It doesn't matter where we go. William Byron is one of those guys that the rest of the garage is looking at and says we got to go beat that car. Now, next, we do have Chase Elliott. I think he's our third best on the mile and a halves right now. I had him ranked second last year, so he did fall in this category. But look, he's not a huge threat on them, and I don't count Atlanta in this category. I do count Kansas, and he wasn't a superstar that day when he won Kansas. He just had a great last couple laps, and we saw the Toyotas choke that one away. So, without those two wins, he's got nothing in his category last season, but he's very consistent. So he's not going to go lead a whole bunch of laps, and he's not going to win a ton of races at the mile and a halves, but he is very consistent, and he's not going to have many bad races, though. So that's where I got him third. And of course, Bowman brings up the rear here, and last year I had him ranked third, so kind of just the same thing. He's not going to go wow you. But if there was a style of track that is best for Bowman, it might be this one. He just needs to break through, and he's got to find a little good luck charm probably. So last category, the road courses. Right now, I still got to keep Chase Elliott number one, in our camp at least. He's definitely not the best road course racer in the entire series. That obviously belongs to SVG, and I think Zilich is going to overtake him as well. But besides that, I still like what I see from Chase on the road courses. I know it's been a while since he has won on one of these tracks, but look, we can say that about a lot of drivers. Now that SVG and Zilich are in this series, we're not going to be able to say many other drivers are winning road courses besides those two. Okay, so I'm going to keep Chase ranked up there, number one, where I had him last year. Number two is staying the same as well, Kyle Larson. He's no slouch. He can get it done. And I mentioned dirt racing kind of translates well to short tracks, but you also can kind of see that with the road courses too. So yeah, Larson, he's good at everything he does. I don't have him ranked worse. Okay, yeah, we do. Okay. I tried to find a stat to help him out, but yeah, he's ranked last in super speedways, but that could easily change this year. Anyway, road courses, got to keep him second. William Byron, last year I had ranked fourth. I did move him up a spot over Bowman. So I got William Byron ranked third this year on the road courses. He's a threat. He won the regular season championship last year. And he's someone that if you're going to beat him on the road course, you're still going to have to work to earn it. So no slouch by any means. But Bowman does bring up the rear in this category. And he can get it done. Remember, a couple years ago, he won the Chicago street course in the wet rain. Why did I have to add that adjective? Wet rain. I could have just said in the rain, but I had to let you know it was wet. Ay. Whose idea was it for me to podcast? Anywho, Bowman, I had him fall a spot. And he brings up the rear in this category as well. So, yeah, Tough spot for Bowman. I don't think he's ranked better than third in any category, but it is what it is. He's on the hot seat. We'll talk more about that in a second. All right. So now, which tracks are we circling? Looking at the schedule ahead, everybody has their calendar. We got all the dates for each track, what races are going to be happening. I want to help you figure out the big ones, the important ones for Hendrick Motorsports, and the ones we're going to circle on the calendar. Like, that's the race that means the most to us. We're going to go out there and win this race. Let's start with 4 crown jewel races. Okay, you got the Daytona 500, and that's coming up 10 days from now. February 15th, Daytona 500. Then you got the Coca-Cola 600, which is in Charlotte on May 24th. After that, we got the Brickyard 400, which is at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That is on July 20th. And then the Southern 500 from Darlington, which is on September 6th. Those are the 4 races that all of the drivers probably would want to win more than the other races. They mean just a little bit more, and they just always have been looked at that way. They are what we would call NASCAR's major events. But some other tracks that we have success at, we'll start with Martinsville. We do run there twice. We're very good at Martinsville. I could say all 4 of our drivers will go there and probably have a chance to win. So the fact that we go there twice this season, and that's nothing new. We've been going to Martinsville twice, 2 times a season, like, for a while. But that's a good chance for us to go get some race wins. Dover this year is not a points race. I kind of hate that because we're good at Dover. Instead, it's going to be the All-Star race. So it's not going to mean as much, but it's still a track that we can circle on our calendar. Hopefully it'll end up being fun to watch. But the All-Star race is from Dover this year. And then last, we got the Homestead Miami Speedway finale. Okay, this will wrap up the entire season. It's not a one-race championship race anymore. This will be the 10th race of the playoffs, the last race of the playoffs. So this is where a champion will be crowned. And if we go back to last spring, Larson won the race at Homestead, but he had to pass Bowman, who ended up finishing second. So they ran 1-2, 2 Hendrick cars. It was Bowman's best race of the season last year. But the fact that we showed that much speed at the track that is going to be this year's finale, very encouraging. So hopefully we can build off of what we did there last year. All right, 2026 season expectations. Here we go. I expect Hendrick Motorsports to combine for 10 or more wins after we only won 8 races last year. Okay, we had 3 from Larson, 3 from Byron, 2 for Chase, 0 from Bowman. 8, not a good number. We got to do better than that. I think double digits is perfectly fine. Let's go win at least 10 races. I think we could win close to 13 or 14, but I expect 10, okay? And that includes every driver getting a win. If you drive for Hendrick Motorsports, you are expected to win a race. So let's go make it happen. Each of these guys have got to get at least 1 win. I expect our cars to have a lot of speed, so I will say 8 or more poles on the season. Sounds pretty fair. You know, Briscoe just had 6 or 7 last season by himself. So as an organization, maybe we could go out and better that. You know, we have 4 drivers capable. So 8 or more poles, that's what I expect. I do expect all of our drivers to be in the All-Star race for what it's worth. You pretty much have to win races or at least win your way into the All-Star race. And I would expect our guys to do that. And I also expect them all to make the playoffs, okay? The top 16 in the point standings after 26 races will make the playoffs. I do expect all 4 of our drivers to be in that category. All righty. Got to take another sip. You know what I'm saying? A warm beer. Let's get in to our bold predictions for 2026, which is pretty much going to take us home on this episode. And I'm going to get pretty bold with these predictions. So stick with me, okay? My first bold prediction for 2026 is that Hendrick Motorsports is going to win all the crown jewel races, okay? That's only 4 races, the 4 biggest races, though. The 4 most important races on the calendar. A Hendrick driver is going to win all 4 of them. Okay. Obviously, that's going to be tough to do. And that bold prediction could be thrown in the trash next week when someone else wins the Daytona 500. And that would ruin my entire season long prediction. But Williams coming off of back to back Daytona 500s. So maybe he goes out and gets a third. Maybe Chase gets his first. Maybe Larson wins his first on a super speedway. Maybe Bowman comes out and says, guess what? I'm here to win races again. I don't know, but it's not an expectation, but it is one of my bold predictions. I think Hendrick Motorsports is going to get all 4 checkered flags at the Crown Jewel races. Okay. Again, that includes the Daytona 500, the Coke 600, the Brickyard 400, the Brickyard 400, and the Southern 500. Let's go get it done. All right. Now, each driver I have a bold prediction for. So let's start with Alex Bowman. I think he's going to win multiple races this year. Call me crazy. I know. Tough to go there, but that just means he's got to win 2 races, 2 out of the 36, and this prediction will come to fruition. Okay. And he's capable of doing so. Back in 2021, he won 4 races that season. He has proven himself to be a race winner. So, maybe he can steal a super speedway, and then that means he just has to have a really good race somewhere else, which we've seen him do time and time again. Maybe he backs into another win like he's done time and time again as well. Still counts as a win. But I'm going Bowman winning 2 or more races this season. Let's just wait and see. The reason, though, if he doesn't win this year, his seat's going to be very hot. And I know Hocevar just extended with Aspire. And I mean, fans were wanting him to end up at Hendrick Motorsports. I never really saw that happening, to be honest with you. Cool thought, but I don't see that happening. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd love to get Zilich in there, but he's going to be set at Trackhouse right now. Then you got Corey Day. I don't think he's ready for Cup immediately. So that could be maybe a threat to Alex's seat well down the line, but not immediate. So I don't know who the other guy would be that we would bring in, but when you drive for Hendrick Motorsports, you got to win races. And if Bowman does not win this year, his seat's going to be steaming hot next off season. So anyway, yeah, hopefully he comes off the winless campaign and can get back to victory lane. Next up, we got William Byron. This one's a fun one. My prediction for Willie B this year is I think he's finally going to get a trophy. Now, that means he either gets himself a new girlfriend or he maybe wins himself a championship finally. But I think this season's going to end with a ring. I'm just kidding. I don't think he's going to propose to someone he meets this year. Hey, maybe he got a girlfriend in the offseason. I'm not sure. But we know William Byron is interested in blondes, and so we wish him well. We want him to be a little bit more interested in championships, though. So, hey, if he ends up with either one, he'll be happy, and we'll be happy for him. Okay, so go get your trophy, bro. Next up, Chase Elliott. This one's a wild one, and it might be the boldest prediction out of all of them. But I think Chase Elliott wins a few poles this year. What? Are you kidding me? He's going to become a threat on Saturdays now? Sounds pretty outlandish, I know. But look, Hendrick Motorsports has speed. Chase Elliott is a good driver. Let's put those 2 things together before we get to the track, and let's be ready when we unload the car. We get on the track and we just go to the top of the leaderboard. That would just change everything with the season. It helps make the weekend so much easier, and it goes so much smoother and keeps you in contention for so many more races. That's got to be the focal point this year. If Chase Elliott's going to turn, I'm not going to say turn his career around, but if he's going to turn like the vibes of the team around, they got to start making full weekends of these races. So starts on Saturday when we unload and we hit the track and we qualify. Okay. Let's go win some poles this year. And last one, Kyle Larson. I believe this season Larson will pass Joey Logano on the all-time wins list. That would be sick because here's the thing. He only needs 5 more wins to tie Logano. He needs 6 wins to pass Logano. We have seen him win at a rapid pace. A few years ago when he won his first championship, he won 10 races in that season with Hendrick Motorsports. Last season, we all consider a down year for Larson. He won 3 times. Okay. He's winning at a much more rapid pace than Logano is. He's going to catch him at some point. But right now, Logano's at 37. Larson's at 32. And he's catching up quickly. And I'm going to say this year he gets it done, which means he has to win 6 more races than Logano wins this year. That's going to be interesting. But hey, I'm here for the hot takes and the bold predictions. So that's what you're getting. All right. Next, we got Corey Day. Corey Day in the O'Reilly series. My bold prediction is that he goes out and wins at least 1 race. I'm hoping at least. I don't know much about the kid. Haven't been able to sit down and watch him race much. I hope he at least contends and competes for some wins. I don't know if he'll break through for sure, but I'm hoping he does. And so that's what we'll go with. If he can just get to victory lane one time this year, I think that will be good. Okay. So maybe we'll see. Stay tuned on that one. We're going to start watching some O'Reilly races this year, and hopefully Corey Day can make us proud in that full-time number 17 Chevy. Next up, bold prediction still, SVG is not going to win COTA. Okay, that's the first road course race of the season, but I don't think he's going to win it, and that would keep Jeff Gordon's road course win streak intact. Okay, Jeff Gordon, I think, won 6 road courses in a row. Excuse me. Sorry, Jeff Gordon won 6 road course races in a row, which is the longest streak of all time on the road courses. SVG right now has 5. So the next time they get on the road course, which will be at COTA, I think it's in March or April, pretty early in the season. If he wins, he will tie Jeff's record. And I don't want that happening. So we need our guys to step up and keep that from happening. Okay. So that will be a bold prediction of mine, which, again, a lot of people are going to be picking SVG. So let's go against everyone else. Let's go against the hot pick. And hopefully someone else in the field can get it done. We will be big fans of the field for that COTA race. And then next, my last bold prediction, which also, this might be fiery hot as well. But I think NASCAR might get a new popular driver in the Cup Series. There's 2 names that come to mind that are really going to challenge Chase Elliott, who's won 8 in a row. I don't know if he'll get number 9 this year, and this is my reason. First of all, Ryan Blaney is still very popular with fans, so I think his popularity is just staying high, and I don't think he's ever going to reach the popularity to surpass Chase Elliott, but it does help other drivers get into the mix, though. Blaney kind of brings Chase down to everyone else's levels. And I think Denny Hamlin might be able to do it this year. I know that sounds crazy, but after the offseason we just saw for this guy, who gets booed quite often, also has a lot of fans, though. And I don't know if he's still going to keep doing his Actions Detrimental podcast or not, but the popularity with Denny Hamlin is soaring right now. And again, just after the offseason he just had, which prayers to Denny and his family for what they're having to go through this year. You know, I've never been a Denny fan. I've always been against him. But I feel really bad for the guy. And I hope that he can come out here and have a good season, to be honest with you. And I don't know if that means a championship. And if it means most popular driver, I still think that that's a win for him. I mean, that would be kind of cool. And I would hate that he's taking that away from my driver, Chase, but I kind of think Chase might need that too to help his career out a little bit. So we'll see. I think if there was ever a chance, though, it might be the rise in popularity that both Blaney and Denny are getting right now. And of course, there's other drivers too. I think Larson is up there. Zilich is going to be up there, I think. If he can come in and blow the doors off of some of these guys, especially in his own team at Trackhouse, I think he's going to be in the conversation because he's so young. Everyone really likes him. Just think Chase might be running out of this award soon. I don't know for sure, but that's just an inkling I'm starting to get. And so I'm going to make that my bold prediction for this year. A new popular driver, perhaps. So that's pretty much it. I got one last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to share my 16 playoff driver predictions with you. I didn't do this last season. Thought it was kind of crazy to go through the whole list, but I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to get this done, and I'm going to have it recorded on tape before the season begins, and we'll look back and hold myself accountable after the season concludes. So I do have all these are in no specific order, by the way, but I have all four of our Hendrick drivers in the playoffs. So that means Larson, Byron, Elliott, and Bowman. Okay. 4 down, 12 to go. Next, I got 3 drivers from the Gibbs camp. I got Bell, Hamlin, and Briscoe making the playoffs. That's 7 drivers. I don't have Ty Gibbs making it this year. Sorry, buddy. Wouldn't surprise me if he makes it. I think I have him just barely on the outside looking in, but he's not in my 16. Okay, next, we got Blaney and Logano, 2 Penske drivers, and this will bring us to 9. Okay, then I got Ross Chastain and Connor Zilisch, 2 Trackhouse drivers. That brings us to 10 and 11. Okay, we got 5 more to go here, and I'm just realizing I only put 15 drivers, so I'm going to have to come up with someone on the fly. Oh, boy. All right, so yeah, let me make sure I counted that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Uh, So here we go. Zilisch was the last one I said. Next, I'm going to put both of the 23-11 guys in. So Tyler Reddick and Bubba. We got them as 12 and 13. I got one RFK driver for now. Chris Buescher, I think, is the one that for sure makes it in. I'll put him 14. I think I'm going to go back and add SVG as 15. So that would make all 3 Trackhouse cars get locked into the playoffs. That would be wild for him, though. He's going to have to win a bunch of those road courses to have a good point standings, but I think he's improving on all the other tracks enough that he might have consistent runs to get a playoff spot, if he has those points. And then 16, which I don't have written down in my notes, but I'm going to go out on a limb, and I think I will probably go. Whew, this is tough. And several drivers I'm looking at. I don't have Hocevar there. I don't have Austin Dillon or Austin Cindric there. But it's kind of between Barry, Priest, and Gibbs. So, gosh, on the spot, my 16th playoff driver, I'm going to have to go with Ty Gibbs. I'm going to have to say Gibbs. I don't want to, but that's the one I feel most confident about. I don't have Priest there, even though I think he's close, but let's not be prisoners of the moment. And because he won the Clash, I'm gonna automatically put him in our playoffs. He's going to have to go out there and have a really good season, which he did last year. At many times throughout the season, he looked like the best RFK driver. But I still think I have a little bit more confidence in Gibbs and even Josh Berry a little bit. Josh Berry, another one that had a great start to the season last year, but just kind of fell off throughout the years. Ty Gibbs wasn't great, but he finished 19th in the points last year. I think he can certainly do worlds better than that. So I'm probably most confident in him having a complete turnaround from where he was last year. And so I'll throw him in that last spot, I guess, if I have to. Be cool if we could only have 15 drivers in the playoffs, huh? But anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. That is our 2026 season preview. Really hope you enjoy listening. Come back next week because we will not have any NASCAR to talk about that took place over the weekend. Obviously, it's Super Bowl weekend, so no racing, but it will be a lead in to the Daytona 500. I cannot wait. I'll be out there all weekend. I actually got a buddy flying down, come to a NASCAR race with me for the first time. I don't know. I don't think it's his first race, but it'll be our first race together. And so really looking forward to hosting him, and maybe I can get him onto the pod, huh? If he's listening. Pressure's on, buddy. Anyway, yeah, next week we will have a Daytona 500 preview, and then after that, it's all racing every week for the rest of the season. All right, y'all have a good week, and I'll see you.